Hello, everybody, and welcome to Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. This is Love is Blurry, our Love is Blind recap podcast, and I'm your host, Javier. I'm joined today by my amazing co-host, Isaiah. How are you doing today, Isaiah?
I'm feeling good. Just like previous seasons, my vision sure is blurry today, Javier, So we're going to see how this goes, but yeah, I'm glad to be here.
I'm excited to be here too. We covered season 4, which actually was this year. So they're really pumping out these seasons quick. We're now at 2 a year. Season 4 was pretty solid, I think, after when we were listening to it. I think we enjoyed season 4. Is that correct, Isaiah? Mostly enjoyed?
For me, I think season 4 is either the best or second best season they've ever done.
Exactly, I agree. Season 1 is my favorite always, and that season 4 was after, because 2 and 3 were a little. Season 4 though was a pretty solid season. I agree. And now we're on season 5, which has started with some interesting people. We've met some interesting characters that I cannot and I cannot wait to get into it. So usually the way that we covered it in season 4 was that we basically talked about the people who made it into the couple phase. We're not at the couple phase, obviously, because we're still in the pod phase. So the way the show works, these people date behind pods, and then eventually they propose, and then we get to the honeymoon phase, and then they get to the real life phase. But right now we're in the pod phase. So we're gonna pretty much talk about by the end. They dropped 4 episodes, so we're gonna talk about the people who basically made it to episode 4, because those are the people who are probably gonna make it into the following episodes.
Okay.
So when the season starts, we meet quite the character actually in the beginning, and this person who's very important. So I guess we can start with her journey in these 4 episodes. We can start with Lydia. So okay. Lydia is our 30-year-old. She is Puerto Rican. She's a geologist. She right away introduces herself as she gets called too much, but she likes to be loud and fun and all of that. And basically throughout these 4 episodes, we see her. She has 2 potential couplings. So first, perfect. Thank you so much, Isaiah. That is Lydia. So she has 2 potential couples. The first one is Milton. So we could talk about her relationship with Milton first, and then we'll talk about what happens with her and Izzy. So Milton, he's 24-year-old. He is also a geologist. He's not a geologist. He's an engineer, but he's into geology. So that's kind of where they start bonding in episode 1. So Isaiah, how do you feel about these 2 characters in episode 1 and then over the 4 episodes that we got of them?
So episode 1, I'm not going to lie, it's a blur for me, because episode 1, there's not much that goes on other than the very ending with Uche and Aaliyah,
Yeah.
So I'm more so going to speak on their overall journeys, but I have a lot to say about these 2. First of all, I mean, do you want me to go in individually, or
you could go in all over the 4 episodes, just free form.
I don't think they're compatible, first and foremost, right? I think Milton doesn't really know what he wants, and I also don't think Milton is really too sure of himself right now. I think he's just kind of figuring himself out. It's a young guy as well, So it's I get it, but he has his very strong desire to be with Lydia, and she's not really. I don't think they're compatible at all. I just think that the only thing they bond over is rocks, I guess, right? But
yeah,
he just literally wants rocks. What the hell? But I think he really just wants to find someone that is into him, and then that's it. Lydia just wants to be loved, that's fair. Chases after Izzy, she's really going in on the experiment, and that makes perfect sense, right? It fails, it doesn't work out, she's upset, valid, okay? Where my problem stems is, and I'll save most of this commentary for when we get to Uche, but there's a Uche connection, and from what I've heard, production's telling them not to say anything. So we'll get into that later. But regardless, it's it feels first of all, Milton's her rebound first and foremost, but I don't think she's really into him. I just think that, well, I don't know. Maybe she is into him. Maybe I'm wrong. We haven't seen them meet in person, but I just feel once they meet each other in person, Lydia's going to be ooh, I'm not really into this. So you know what I'm saying? I feel she still has something for Izzy. I feel like the Uche thing, there's something there. And just like seeing the type of men that she naturally gravitates towards. Milton really doesn't fit that mold, man. I just think that she's looking to try to make it to the next round. I don't like how she handles her friendship with Aaliyah. Like there's just like a lot of red flags from Lydia overall. So I'm not too hot on her, but how do you feel?
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think Lydia went in and she was super gung ho about Izzy. Who we'll talk a little bit more about Izzy because he dates. Honestly, Izzy was the popular guy in the pod. I think he had 3 girls throughout these 4 episodes falling for him. So good for him. But yeah, so I think Lydia and Milton. So here we have another situation with the age issue. I feel like we've seen this every season. There's always someone who's like, there's always like this older woman, older in quotes, I'm saying in quotes, everyone, because she's 30, but he's 24. So there seems to be this issue with age again. And we've seen it every season. And to her, she says it's not a big deal. But yeah, I feel like you said, they don't have much in common. Milton likes geology also, which cute. They could talk about rocks, but how much can you talk about rocks?
I guess. Sure.
You know? And yeah, Lydia just seems like she's kind of all over the place. She seems like she wants love, but like no matter what. Like after Izzy rejects her, she becomes like super duper like, oh my god, I love Milton. Like Milton, you're the one for me. Milton, I want to make this work. Blah 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 blah. But prior to Izzy rejecting her, she just seemed like she wasn't really into Milton. So it almost seems like she's trying to force this relationship. So that for me is why I don't see like a bright future for these two if Milton does end up proposing. And I think on Milton's side, I think Milton seems like a nice guy. He's this nerdy guy. We get something I want to shout him out because he talked about how like he really likes playing competitive Pokemon, and I do too. So shout out to Milton for that. But like Milton to me just seems like, I'm thinking of myself when I was 24, and I feel like I was not ready to be married. Like I don't think Milton is ready to be married at 24. I think it is absurd as a 24-year-old on a show about getting married. Like, bro, has he even had a past relationship? We haven't even talked about this. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't feel like Milton is ready for this at all. I think he's like in over his head. He seems like a very nice guy, but I don't think he's going to be able to handle all of Lydia. I do feel like Lydia is going to overwhelm him when they actually meet, assuming he says yes. And yeah, I just don't see it for these two. And like you said, Lydia is like kind of messy. Like she still seems like she has feelings for Uche. I think when she sees Izzy in person, she's going to be like, damn, I could have been with Izzy. So I just don't think this is going to work out at all for these two.
I'm glad you said that thing about Milton, because I do think Milton, the only person who like was willing to speak to him was Lydia, and I think that's why he gravitated towards her, but it just is not there. Lydia's obviously an attractive girl and all that, but like when I felt bad for her when the Izzy thing happened, because I'm like, oh, she's trying to be herself unapologetically, like I'm rooting for her, and then she just becomes messy as hell. And like I said, I'm gonna drag probably when we get to Leah, but it's just like I'm trying to figure out, like, I see why you're single, bro, because when she started going out, it was just bad, man. So I'm just not thumbs down on Lydia. I'm just not here for it. So we'll get into her more when we get to these other couples.
We're not done with Lydia, y'all. We're not done.
I'm not here for her. I'm sorry. Yeah, bird.
Yeah, so I think we touched upon pretty much all we wanted to really say about Milton and Lydia. So the next couple we could talk about, which to me is like the most bland couple of the season. Every season has to have one. We could talk about JP and Taylor.
Is it these two?
It is these two. So
oh my JP, god. Okay.
So we have JP, who's our 30-year-old firefighter. And we have Stacy, who's our 25-year-old. From the moment we see her, she talks about how she's like was broken for so long and she really had to find herself. And side note, I feel like Love is Blind loves to cast these kind of people. Like these are the people they cast. These people who like say they were broken and now say they're whole, but I don't actually think they are. Like, and that's okay. She's 25. She's young. Like she doesn't have to like know exactly like everything about herself. But don't go on this show until you are I think they need to cast people who are actually ready for marriage. And to me, Taylor from Jump did not give me that vibe at all. Like I feel like Taylor still has a lot of growing to do and she's just not ready to be married in my opinion. But she ends up falling for JP. And they're actually the first couple who we see get engaged. JP proposes to her. Um, and even when they meet, bro, when they met, that was so awkward to me. It felt very much like when Irina met Zach in season 4, where it was like, oh, like this is my man forever. Like I don't know about this. Like she commented on his gap in his teeth, and she was like, if in the real life, I don't know if I date someone like this. And it was super awkward when they met too, bro. Like JP was not talking really, and even Taylor clocked him. Taylor was like, oh, so like we're gonna talk about this. Like, why is this so awkward? Why is there no conversation happening? So I just felt like the energy was completely off between these two, and I don't see it for them at all moving forward. How do you feel about these two?
I'm gonna be honest. Until you said their names, I didn't remember them. It wasn't good. It was not good. Yeah, listen. So every time they came on the TV screen, they were so boring. Like I was looking at my phone for most of the time they were on the show, right? And they got married, like they got engaged, like what, episode 2 or episode 3? It was 2, right?
Episode 2, yes, I believe.
Wow. Like I'm gonna be real with you. When they did get engaged and they were meeting each other for the first time, that was my first time realizing that they were on the show, and I'm not even like gassing it up. Like it was bad. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I wasn't paying attention to them even to the like now. Like I remember they had like really like, you know, the cringe like, oh, Sugar Bear or something, like they had that.
Sugar butt and sugar.
Yeah. Like they're very boring though. And you know, boring is good sometimes. Like, you know, like that can work out. But I don't have a lot of commentary for them. Like out of everybody, there's a lot of messiness, a lot of trauma bonding and cheating. Well, yeah, cheating actually. So yeah, but there's a lot of mess going around. These two are boring, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're here to find love. Love can be boring. Look, Tiffany and Brett, they were very boring, you know. But like I rooted for them. I'm not saying I'm not rooting for these two. I literally zoned out every time they were on my screen. That like I just don't remember anything about them, and it's really unfortunate and kind of embarrassing on my part. But they're very just like milk toast. And it's just not my cup of tea, you know. I like coffee. I don't like milk, you know, by itself. So I can't do with it. But yeah, I'm bored.
But do you see it for them though? You know, like that's why we're here. We're trying to figure out, do you think these two will be together at the end of the show?
The one thing I do remember,
from what you remember,
what was it? The episode preview, I think they had an argument, so maybe there's tension, but they seem content. I mean, like based off of looks, I mean, why not? You know, like they seem cool. She's laying up on them. The body language is there. They both seem very comfortable enough to have pet names for each other. You know, we just got to see how they work in the real world. But like I said, boring most time works. So maybe it works. Okay. I don't know.
I mean, the only other thing I want to add is that once they met in episode 3, and like the whole like, well, he proposed episode 2, they met in episode 3, and like when they're talking, we get like a confessional from Taylor, and she says the thing that I think are famous last words on this show. She said that I'm proof that love is blind, like our relationship, because she said normally I wouldn't date someone that looks like JP. So I really don't think she's gonna be able to get past it. Like I feel like once they get in that bed, bro, and honeymoon time, it's just not. It's gonna give Zach and Bliss. Like I just really feel like it's gonna be like, no, sorry, not Zach and Bliss.
Don't come my girl like that.
No, not Bliss. I love Bliss. Zach and Irina were like, she's the Irina here, like not personality wise, just in the sense that she is just not gonna be able to get past the looks. I feel so that's why I don't see it for them. But maybe hopefully I'm wrong. Like you said, they are here for love.
I just also feel like auras and energy sometimes, right? And they don't really radiate that that closeness that I'm feeling, you know, like even like in the pods, like they seem like, you know, like they rock with each other enough to like, you know, try this out. But I think we're at the point in Love is Blind where people don't really look at these engagements as like engagements. They look, well, Zach and Bliss, they definitely did. Tiffany and Brett definitely did. But I think they more so look at it like, all right, we're dating, you know, and like we're dating until we get to that altar, and it's like, oh shit, like this is going to get real, you know. So I I'm curious to see their progression. We've seen a lot. Colleen and what was the other guy's name? Matt?
Yeah, Colleen and Matt, yeah.
I remember them. They ended up working out, but like going into the honeymoon phase, like they were very like toxic. And you're like going in there, I didn't think they were going to be toxic. So I just gotta see how they rock out. The pods is honestly like a fantasy zone of like, oh, like this is gonna work out, it's perfect, and it always doesn't. So let's see how it goes. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so we can move on then, because I agree with you. They were kind of the tea and toast of the first few episodes. So next up we can talk about Johnny. So Johnny, she is our 30-year-old lawyer. So if you saw the trailers for the before the season began, she's the one who was saying that like her mom said she's not ready for marriage and that she can never see her married, which is already like very traumatic. Like I hope Johnny's in therapy just from the single fact that your mom told you are not getting married. So there's Johnny if you're watching with us live. She's a lawyer, she's 30 years old, and she has a thing with two guys in the pod. She has a thing first with Izzy, who had a thing with Lydia too. Izzy, he's 29 years old. He was like a business insurance man. And Johnny also had a thing with Chris. Chris is 27 years old, and he's a project manager of sorts. So Johnny, to me, from jump, seems a little like a little unhinged. Like she's the kind of girl who is going to be good TV because she's just going to say what's on her mind and she's going to feel how she feels. And she's going to be very outward with her emotions. So I'm excited to see her on the show. But in terms of her relationships, I guess we could talk about her and Izzy first, because that's kind of like who her main person was. So how did you feel about Johnny and Izzy before we talk about Johnny and Chris?
So the thing with Johnny, I feel like she doesn't bring a lot of positivity to the table. And even before we continue, if you don't want to be like Johnny and you do want to bring some positivity to the table, definitely make sure you check out our Patreon at Silent Podcast. If you want to come and support us and all that fun stuff, definitely don't be a Johnny. Definitely be a silencer with us and join the army. But back to Johnny. Johnny is like, at first I was just like skeptical because it's like I feel like I can read like energies, like I said, and she's very safe. I think Izzy, and we'll get to Izzy in a second, Izzy picking her at first was very safe, but I was like, you know what, I can see it. Like they are awkward a little bit. Her mannerisms are a little awkward, but like they're both like being honest. That's what I thought. And they were being honest to a degree, but there's something with this cast specifically that everyone's waiting until like the wee bits of like the end phase of the pod phase to like start telling people and drop bombs on like stuff with their past. Like these are things you should be saying from the jump, but she waited till the end and she's telling him like, look, I had this fiance. Did he? He's the one that passed away. Where
she had two ex-husbands. The first one, which she said, is the only man she ever loved. He's the one who passed from a drug overdose,
which is crazy. And they weren't even together when he passed from an overdose. The second one is the one that was the rebound. How do you get a rebound? A
rebound marriage, not even a rebound relationship. A rebound marriage is
insane. So. If I'm Izzy, I'm like, I'm getting the hell out there too, bro. Like I completely feel that.
I'm running the other direction.
And I wanted to feel bad for her because I think she genuinely did want to give it a shot with Izzy, but like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like, yo, this is the first person that like I fell in love with, and like I've had a hard time looking for this somewhere else. But obviously she's trying, right? But you need to make sure that it's known that you're emotionally available. Like, I feel like the entire interaction, she doesn't feel like she's emotionally available. It feels like she's feeling the waters out and like, hey, if we get like engaged, like, let's try it out and see what happens. And, I wasn't too much of a fan of her with the Izzy thing, but I'm like, maybe there's hope. I don't like how she broke Chris's heart, first of all. Tries to circle back because this isn't the first person in Love and Blind history has done that. Plenty of people do this. She thought she can like tread back like Zach and try this out again. Hell no. Went back to Chris, and I was so scared Chris was going to be like, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping the gun because I know you wanted to like wait, but I was so scared that Chris was going to be the Salvador of the season who just like
Yeah.
Just like waits and hopefully things work out. Like, no, like she is not right. Obviously, she does not really vibe with Chris. She just wanted to get in this damn vacation. She still wanted to be on the show, which by the previews, she's still going to be on the show. I'm tired of Love is Blind doing this, but she feels like a cloud chaser at this point, and I'm tired. I think she was into Izzy, and she wasn't into Chris. She just wanted to continue on with the show. But like, I think she definitely was into Izzy, and I'm not here for that. I think it's weird. And I'm not too much of a fan of Johnny. So for the second time, I am going to say that Johnny is a bird and she is getting a whammy effect. What the hell is that? I'm not a Johnny fan. And
Johnny's a bird. I'm dead.
Bro, like I'm done. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I went off the track for a little bit.
Nah, listen, let it all out. That's why we're podcasting about it, so we can like talk about it. But I mean, I don't really have anything else to really add in terms of Johnny. Like, Johnny to me feels like someone. This is the show where they cast these people who need therapy, and like it's okay to need therapy. I think most people need therapy, if not everyone. But like, I don't think Johnny is ready for a relationship right now. Like, I agree with Izzy. I would feel uneasy if someone tells me they've only loved one person and then they got married again. And then like, I would also be a little like, damn, is she like ever going to get over this ex person that she loved? Like maybe that to me is like something that I think Johnny still has to deal with. And that's how I feel after watching these 4 episodes, that Johnny needs to deal with whatever trauma she has from that past relationship. And then hopefully she can find a nice, successful relationship moving forward. And like the way she would talk about Chris, so let's get into Chris because I really like Chris. Chris was honestly probably the only guy that I liked in these first 4 episodes.
Okay.
He seemed like a very sweet dude who he seemed like a nice, normal, sweet guy.
Okay.
And Chris was just like, Johnny would just keep talking about Chris, how like, oh, Chris is so nice. We laugh together. Makes me feel safe and secure, but I don't want safe and secure. What? So what do you want in a relationship? Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's an insane thing for me to hear someone say that I want a relationship that is not safe and secure. You can have safe and secure, in my opinion, and then also do fun activities and like and have a great relationship. Like that is what I feel like you should be looking for in a relationship. You want someone you can trust, etc. So I don't know. I really liked Chris. I thought he was a really sweet guy, and I was so happy when he said no to her. So when, like you said, Johnny tried to circle back after Izzy rejected her. And she tried to be like, no, Chris, let's make it happen, blah, blah. And I think Chris did a great job of like, you know, basically saving his peace and saying, like I'm no one's second choice. We're not going to do this right now. And I don't think it would have worked out as well as it worked out for Zach and Bliss. So I'm glad that Chris said no in this situation. I am interested to see what more we get from Chris and Johnny. Like, do they start dating after they leave the pods? Or is it just going to be like, they're going to talk once or twice and then have like a little lunch and then move on from there, you know? So I'm curious to see what's happening.
Here's my next rant, and it's not to Chris or Johnny. It's actually to production. Because I feel like Love is Blind is, first of all, one of the most interesting, if not the most interesting social experiment on television right now, because what the hell, you know, like it's almost like 90 Day Fiance, Love is Blind, and Married at First Sight. Those are the craziest experiments ever. And I think Love is Blind is definitely getting to a place where they're kind of like moving away from the roots a little bit. It feels like they're trying to get a little gimmicky. And you know, like I said, my main criticism will get towards another couple a little bit later. Real quick, one of the points you made was about the trauma bonding. There's a lot of trauma bonding this season, which is very peculiar as well. Like, I don't know what the criteria was for getting people, but like, there's a lot of people with issues that need therapy, shouldn't be on the show. But my big thing is, and we specifically saw this last season, which I mean, it ended up working out. It's these people who didn't succeed in the pods are like getting second, third chances at love. And you know, that's fine for like entertainment purposes, but like, all right, Jackie and Josh, like, why is Josh back? He flopped in the pods, all right? Or, you know, I'm happy Bliss came back, obviously, but Bliss and Zach, they ended up working out. But like at that point, Love isn't blind at that point because they get to interact in person. So it's not the same thing anymore. It's like, all right, I didn't pick you in the pods, but we're still going to give you a marriage and everything that you didn't earn. You know, I'm sure there's a plethora of couples that every season that get engaged don't get picked, and they just get thrown to the trash. These people don't have it work out, but you keep giving them chances outside the pods, and I think that's a little weird. Like, we're starting to focus on people who failed in the pods, and I'm sure we're going to see Johnny back. I'm sure we're going to see Chris back. I'm sure there's going to be some character that's a friend of someone else in this game that will end up like becoming a character like Irina's friend or whatever the girl's name's friend last season that was completely annoying. Somehow came on. I forget what her name is, but like she was on After the Altar too.
She was on After the Altar. You would think I remember because we podcasted about.
Like what? But like, what the hell is going on here? This isn't Love Is Blind anymore. It's like, all right, interact in the pods, and like if you feel like coming back for some screen time later, like circle back. Like I don't like that. But I was really this afraid that I was going to have to hate Chris because I was like, this guy feels the guy in season 1 that was with Jessica. I think his name was Josh or whatever. Like he pissed me off.
I think it was Mark and
Mark.
Jessica.
He pissed me off, and I know a lot of people like Mark, but I'm like, she obviously doesn't want you, bro. Salvador also pissed me off, but it's like, go, like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm tired of these sub ass people coming on this show and like, oh, I can't find love. Let me just force my way in this unhappy marriage and hope it works out. Get the hell out of here. So shout out to Chris for breaking the curse. King, you deserve better. Now, if I see you get back with Johnny after the show, I'm gonna be pissed off and I'm going to be dragging your ass. But good for Chris. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of women in his DMs after the show. He'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see him on a reunion because he got screen time. But I'm so glad. Johnny is a bird, okay? This guy is a king. Shout out to you, Chris. You did good. You did good.
You actually made a really good point that I hadn't thought about. The whole concept of like, for example, like bringing it back to like Zach and Bliss in season 4, like they're not actually part of the experiment. You're correct. Like love, they don't prove that Love Is Blind. Like you're right. The show is called Love Is Blind. Like why are we including these couples that did not actually fulfill the criteria when there are couples who fulfill the criteria and who are not on the show? Like even if they're boring, you still give me boring couples every season. So just give me the boring couples who succeed, just so your numbers look, I don't know, give the numbers look a little better. Maybe Love Is Blind. Like prove to me Love Is Blind. I'm sure those people must have something that you can make a storyline out of. So that actually, you made a really great point because that actually is very annoying.
And you know they're going to try to force some of these singles together because they didn't hit their quota of married couples. Like, you know, they're going to try to force Uche and Alyssa back. They're going to try to get Chris and Johnny. They're going to try something. And it's like, give it up. You guys failed. Like try again later. You know, I'm sure there's people who did propose that you guys are just leaving on the back burner, and it's bullshit. So I hope they you know they're going to do it because I've already seen Johnny and Uche and Aaliyah all in the preview. But like, it's getting annoying. Be better, production. Very sloppy work from production this year. I will say that. Very sloppy.
But last note I'm gonna say is shout out to Chris again. I liked Chris. But moving forward, we can move on to someone who by extension is related to the Johnny situation, Izzy. So we briefly touched on Izzy. So like I mentioned earlier, he's 29 years old. He's an insurance salesman or something to do with insurance. And he ends up dating, in the pods, he seems to be the most popular guy in my opinion. Lydia has a thing for him. He rejects her episode 1. Johnny has a thing for him. He rejects her like episode 3. And then Stacy's the one he chooses. He chooses his 33-year-old Stacy. So how do you feel about these two, about Izzy and Stacy, Isaiah?
So I think Izzy has a pretty big heart. I have a hard time trying to decide if I like Izzy or not this season. I think he first of all, he has game. He has Riz. You know, I agree. He's not trying to play anybody, which he's not a player, so I respect that. He's very authentic. And obviously the guy has a big heart and he has a lot of feelings. So I do like that. But I feel like, as I said earlier, he's one of the people who has a lot of trauma from past relationships. And it's gotten to the point where I'm starting to see him like like almost like self-sabotage a little bit, you know? And it's not even just with this, like he had a moment like that with the guys too when they started talking about what was it? It was either Lydia or Johnny. I think it was Johnny, but like he's a very self-sabotagey person.
Mhm.
And I think we saw that with Johnny, which I mean I'm glad he didn't go with it, but like honestly, I would have picked for him, I think he fits better with Johnny than Stacy, I'm gonna be honest. But no, Johnny's a bird, so it's okay. But Stacy clearly not into you. Like she is such a clout chaser. Now, I mean, she cried. She did cry.
What?
So she has a little bit, but she is just giving nothing. I think she's here for a vacation. I'm being honest because it's like she's obviously having affirmations. She's like, you know, like they're flirty, they're being open with each other eventually. But like something Izzy's always saying is like, you're not really like being affectionate. You're not really like giving any emotion to this. Like, you know, how do you feel about this? Because like I'm all in. She's like, I'm getting there. Like, I don't want to get engaged with someone who's getting there. I need to get engaged with someone who's like in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're in this, we're in this. Like, I think like unfortunately, Izzy burnt all his bridges to the point that he has to pick Stacy. Stacey has like the least amount of red flags out of the three options, so like okay,
Agreed.
but like honestly, I would have went with nobody at this point because it's like I don't think Stacey is too marriage interested in Izzy. I don't think she really, as of right now at least, wants to get married. Like this, no, I mean everyone has different paces, but like it feels like they're not even like boyfriend or girlfriend. I feel like they're just like talking right now. That's how I'm feeling going into this engagement. They're like talking. And that's not good in comparison to like other couples this season or other couples in other seasons where like when they get engaged, they're engaged, like they're ready for marriage. I feel like Izzy is very ready for marriage, and Stacey's like, if it works out, it works out. You know, like I think she wants to get this trip, see how it works out, maybe give it a few weeks in the outside world, and then like boom, like I just don't see it working out. Like I don't know, man. I'm very skeptical about Stacy, but that might be a hot take.
Okay, interesting. So I feel like, so first of all, I feel like I agree with you what you said earlier. I think clearly Izzy has a lot of riz. Like the girls were all falling head over heels for this guys. He had 3 girls rooting for him this season, which I think that might be a new record on this show. That 3 girls who make it to episode 4 all like the same guy. Usually it's 2, not 3. Three's a lot.
Kwame.
So good for him. But something about Izzy, I agree with you. Like I want to like Izzy, but sometimes I feel like he says the right things because he knows what to say, like in a way that's almost like he's too good at like flirting with these women. Because at one point in episode 1, he says something that to me is like a buzzword. Like he said, "All men need therapy" to one of the girls, and I was like, okay, he said that because he knew that would like, you know, that's something that is just like that's like a popular thing nowadays on the internet, on social media. People saying that like men need more therapy, like men get off the mics and get on therapy, you know. So part of me feels like Izzy's a little calculated with his flirting, which is a little weird to me. So that's why I was not fully behind him, as opposed to like earlier when I was saying I was team Chris, because I felt like Chris was very genuine. Parts of me feels like Izzy's genuine, and then parts of me feels like he's not. So I need some more time before I could actually say like I'm rooting for Izzy. But in terms of the relationship, I do agree with you. It's a little weird how Stacy is the most, in my opinion, actually, Stacy might be the most normal person in this experiment, in the sense that would I also be falling in love with someone 2 days in? I wouldn't. I actually think it's very mature and actually how I would approach the show, which is what I kind of liked about Stacy. The whole like she was like, I'm gonna take my time with this. Like, let's continue to date, and let's see where this goes. Like, I'm getting to the love point, but I'm not exactly there yet. And let's be honest, Izzy was at that point with Johnny too. Like, should she even trust Izzy? Like maybe she's making the right choice and saying like, let's wait and see. Like, is he going to pick me, or is it going? Maybe she's also trying to protect herself in that sense, where she doesn't want to completely jump head over heels for this guy. So for me, I took it more as a sense that Stacey's like she's 33 years old, and I feel like she's the most emotionally mature person like on this cast currently, and that's the vibe that I got from her actually. But I do agree with you in the sense that is she super head over heels for Izzy yet? No, I don't think so. I don't think but I do think that maybe when they meet outside of the pods, now that they're engaged, I think she is going to give it a shot though, to see like, is this, and I think that's also part of the experiment. Like, I think it's more real to go in saying, I'm almost at that point where like I want to marry you, but I'm not there yet. And let's see once we actually meet in person and like hang out and get to know each other more. So I actually like that side of Stacey. I like the fact that she's being a bit more measured with it than these people who, like, for example, Lydia. Like, Lydia's like almost desperate for love. Like, I don't know. I think that's actually worse than someone like Stacey who's saying like, let's take this slowly, let's slow down a bit, and let's make sure that this is exactly what's right for us. So I like that part of Stacey.
For sure. And you know, the first of all, I think everyone who goes on the show is a psycho, because like you want me to get engaged to someone I haven't seen before? What?
Yeah,
But so there's something wrong with all these people, first and foremost. But it's like, and you know, the pace of her is valid, you know, but this is engagement. Like that, like this isn't the first date. This is, you're getting engaged to being married with someone.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not sure about this, make sure that like you let them know soon. Like obviously try it out, go to the honeymoon, live life for a little bit, but do not go on that damn stand and then say no on the altar with everyone's families in front.
That I
I'm
agree
so
with.
tired of that.
I
You know?
agree with that.
So we'll see. I think my biggest red flag for the both of them is that something you said, they both are at two different pace. And you know, they're both valid for moving at the paces that they want, but I can see that being a huge problem. I think Izzy is ready for marriage, and he's going to be very strong with his approach, and you know, that's fine actually. But it's going to rub someone off who, like Stacey, is moving a lot slower, trying to figure this out. And I think she's ready for it, but like only if she's sure about it. And that's also fine. But with someone who's so fast paced, I think they're both kind of like a little too in their heads. Like they're definitely like ahead of themselves right now. And I feel like this is going to be a problem in the future. But you know, I could be wrong. You know, hopefully I'm wrong. You know, shout out to both of them. Like, they're not toxic, but you know, what I've seen from the show is that Izzy is a very emotional guy. And I feel like if Stacey is not showing affection or emotion, or like, you know, too quickly, or like, you know, he feels like it's more of a friendship than a relationship, he's going to be like, like, I don't need that again, bro. Like grow up, you know. So we'll see how it goes. I feel like we're going to get like some conflict with these two, but you know, they're fun. I like messy people.
Yeah, I think you brought up another a good point that or you said something that brought something to my mind. I'm actually kind of interested to see where Izzy and Stacey go. Like, a lot of times these couples come in like after they engage, I just know it's gonna be messy, or I know it's not gonna work out. And I think with Izzy and Stacey, they're like one of the first real couples where like it seems very 50-50 at the moment. Like, I can see Stacey falling for him, and I can and it's not gonna, and I don't think it's gonna be affected. Like, in a lot of past relationships on the show, it's affected by a third party, by someone else you fell for. And I don't think that's gonna be a situation with Izzy and Stacey. I think we're actually gonna see a relationship try to blossom between these two. And if it doesn't work out, it's because it's not gonna work out for them two, not because he likes someone else. Like, I don't think Lydia's gonna be a factor here. I think Lydia's gonna have her own issues with Uche and Aaliyah to deal with, more so with that couple than this couple. Like, I actually think we're gonna see like, and I'm interested in seeing how these two progress once they actually get to see each other in person, because they might be the first couple who actually who's very 50-50 to me. Like, I don't know exactly where they're gonna end up, and I like that. I like that idea of these two.
They're gonna be fine, and then Izzy's gonna be like, I feel like there's a wall between us. We're not really talking as much as I want to. And guess what's gonna happen? There's gonna be a bonfire for one of the nights. All the couples are invited, and guess who's gonna walk in? Johnny's gonna have something to say about it. All right, so we're gonna have to see what really happens. But
you're right. We'll see.
We'll have to see. But you know, I have faith. So
I'm intrigued by these two. The only other thing I want to say is that we got a really funny scene, which is something that I always clock on reality TV, is the crying with no tears. So after Izzy and Stacey get engaged, Stacey goes back to the girls, and she's like dry heaving and sobbing, but not a single tear is coming from her eyes. And I absolutely love in reality TV when they do that, because I think that's so psychotic that you could just stand there and dry heave and sob with no tears, the whole fake crying, which I thought was really funny. And I just wanted to shout out Stacey for that, because that is a great move to do on reality TV. And I always love seeing when people do that, because I think it's so funny. Like, if you don't feel it, don't act like you're going to cry. Just be excited without crying, you know? So,
right.
Shout out to Stacy for that moment. All right, so now we can get into the most drama filled couple, dynamic, if you will, Uche and Aaliyah. So we have Uche, who he is our 33-year-old. He is a lawyer and he owns some kind of software company. And then we have my girl Aaliyah, who I don't have her agent right in front of me, unfortunately, but she's a baddie, and I like Aaliyah, and she likes anime, and she works in some kind of cardiovascular business. So these two kind of fall for each other pretty quickly. They both love poetry. They bond over both liking guitar, so they seem to have a lot in common. And we see them really blossom. Like these two don't really date outside of their little duo. Like they're not dating a second or third person, who at least in the pods, because outside of the pods, we learn eventually, which Isaiah touched upon this a little bit, Lydia and Uche had dated before. And they dated up until like 2 or 3 months before the show aired. They were still having sex, we learned, which is wild to me, by the way. Wild, absolutely insane. And they're kind of going up and down. They have this drama where Aaliyah talks about how she cheated on one of her exes, and we get a kind of heated conversation between Uche and Aaliyah. They seem to move past that. The Lydia bomb drops, and we end the episodes with, it seems that we don't really know what's going to happen with these two. But I feel like the show needs at least a third couple, because at the moment we only have 2 engaged couples, and if that's going to be what we're going to go into the honeymoon phase, I don't know about that. So I definitely do think Uche and Aaliyah will get engaged. But let's dig a little bit deeper. Isaiah, tell me a little bit more. That was kind of just an overview over Uche and Aaliyah's relationship. How do you feel about these two?
Like me and the producers need to have a little bit of a talk.
Okay. Because what is going on here? Listen, I blame production for ruining this couple. They're at fault, and they are fully at fault because, like,
get them again.
They had a little bit of a hiccup. Obviously, first of all, a lot of people are like, "How dare Uche come at her for saying that she's a cheater?" First of all, cheating's not good, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it is not.
And shout out to her for bringing it up, and being honest, but red freaking flag that you didn't tell the person, and the first time you're telling them about it is on national television on Netflix. That is crazy. So listen, if I'm Uche, listen, a lot of people trying to come at Uche, I understand. That was crazy. I'm like, hold on. How do I know you're not going to cheat on me and not tell me? So that is wild. Not good. She apologized for it. Obviously, it's very embarrassing, but she likes you enough to tell you about this on TV. So, I understand being annoyed about it, but he was willing to look past it. So, that's the plus side. Now, Uche, on the other hand, he didn't handle that too well. Like, first of all, he was spitting some facts, I ain't gonna lie, but damn, like, he was really digging in. Like, he was going crazy. He started saying, like, a lot of blunt stuff, and, like, to get the girl to cry, like, I don't know if that was his intent, but, like,
the way he handled it, I think, was not.
Red flags on his side, too, you know? And, like, at that moment, I was like, damn, because, like, literally, Javier, I'm not gonna lie, this podcast would not be happening if, like, the end of episode 1 didn't happen. I was about to drop the show. I was like, finally, I have a boring cast. I don't like any of these people. I can stop watching. And then this happened,
We got Lydia here.
But, they're both valid. I think that they both handled it like adults, and they were both willing to move on. And I liked it. I actually thought, I was like, you know what? This is a very adult thing. She said something great. She's like, not all relationships are perfect, but, like, it's all about communication, which not a lot of people are mature enough to do. They had communication and they got past it. And Uche was also very clear when they first started talking. He was like, hey, look, I'm very blunt and it can come off very hard. And she was fully aware of that. And that's why she didn't drop him, because she was like, I mean, he told me that he was going to be like this. So I don't even think it was a place of toxic. I think it was more so a place of blatantly honest. And I as a blatantly honest person can understand that, like, but there's also a happy medium. You got to be like, you got to be aware of how you're talking to people. So they got past that. I don't think either one of them walked away. They both took some L's, but they still liked each other. Cool. This relationship didn't start messing up until production got sloppy. And I did my research. This actually isn't the first time production has casted people who know each other. It's happened a bunch of times. It's usually just people who don't get an edit on the show and they just like throw it away, right? But these two apparently pulled him and Lydia like right after they found out they knew each other and was like, don't talk about it on the show, just don't even say anything about it. But they were like, look, there's nothing there, like, so they both eventually said something and forced them to put it on the show. But I blame production for this going south because listen, a lot of people are like, oh, Uche and Lydia had sex before coming on here. First of all, they didn't know they were coming on the show. Neither one of them did. I don't think either one of them knew that they were in a running to be on the show 3 months before coming out here. Usually people don't know they're going to be on the show until like a couple weeks before they start filming. So I'm not going to blame someone for having sex on a random Saturday, whatever freaking day it was. Because look, that's what you do when you're single. You know what I'm saying? Neither one of them were in a relationship and they had sex. That's life, okay? Neither one of them knew that they were going to be on the show. I don't think anyone in Love is Blind history just outwardly tells a stranger that they're trying to get engaged with, hey, this is the last time I had sex without you even asking. I don't think anyone asked anything. Perfect example, Big Brother, Cam, he's asking what's your Jared's asking what your body count is, and everyone's trying to cancel him. What? If Uche or Aaliyah asks, hey, what's your body count? Are they going to get canceled too? Like, be consistent. I'm looking at some of y'all. Be consistent. So you're not going to just ask a random stranger, hey, like when's the last time you had sex? Like, that's weird. I don't think either one of them cared about it. I don't even think Aaliyah cared about it because she knew they had sex. It wasn't until Lydia's trifling ass started talking a little too much. First of all, Uche was honest. He was like, look, I came here and someone I recognize. And, she wasn't mad at either one of them, actually. She was like, that's not your fault. That happens. I got to talk to Lydia first. Her and Lydia had a good conversation. It was a little shady that Lydia's like been crying in this girl's arms, dropping hints and all this stuff. And then now you want to say something?
She kept saying, we're so similar. We're so similar. She knew exactly what she was doing.
Weird.
Lydia knew exactly what she was doing.
Weird. But you know what? She was fine. And they were supposed to go away from it. It wasn't until she started dropping all these bombs. Oh, he got a Tesla. He got this many-story house.
Royal blue.
His favorite color is this. His family, his dog. We had sex a couple of months ago. That was so weird. And I'm gonna be real with you. I don't even think Lydia was trying to sabotage us. This is just who she is. She talks a lot, and this is where I understood. I'm like, this is why you're single. Like, you do a lot. Uche even said yeah, and Uche was like, she kind of does a lot. Like, I understand it fully now. Izzy saw it. You're a lot, and like I just don't like Lydia anymore. And she seems like a very sweet girl, very unapologetically herself. But like, you need to like chill. Like that was a lot, and that was very damning to this relationship. She blew up a relationship, and I don't even think she knew. And the sad takeaway from this is that I know a lot of people are going to walk away from this and blame Uche for having sex with this girl, for not saying something initially when production was telling them not to. And it's kind of bullshit. Sorry. Like I don't think either one of these two are in the wrong here because of sloppy production. Like, it's fully in her right to go and not want to do the show anymore. Cause like, what the F is this? You're going to look like a damn fool. And it's also not on Uche for being casted with the girl that he has prior history with that he didn't expect. Like, it's called Love is Blind. Like, why? What the hell is going on here? So I thought this is just an unfortunate situation because like I don't think either one of them are fully in the wrong here. But like we'll see how the show goes after this. I just think that. It's just an unfortunate circumstance, and it hurt my soul, but like I understood it on both sides. It just sucks.
Yeah, I think so. I have a few things I want to say. So first of all, I kind of first want to talk about these two as like a couple, and I actually do not think that they're compatible. it's from when watching the show, in my opinion, Uche seems very, I'm gonna just say Uche just seems kind of boring. Like compared to Aaliyah, Aaliyah seems to have so much. She's so bubbly. She seems to have a really big personality. And I just beyond the whole Lydia situation, I actually don't think these two are going to be compatible when they actually meet in real life. I feel like I just don't see it. Like their conversations in the pods were very like dry. It seemed like Aaliyah was carrying a lot of the conversation, in my opinion. So that's the first thing I want to say. I just don't think they're going to work out beyond the whole Lydia mess and the whole like Aaliyah had that whole cheating situation. I just don't think these two just not giving me compatible vibes at all. That's my first take. So I don't think they're going to end up at the end of the show together. The second thing I want to talk about is Lydia. So my issue with Lydia came where like the situation happened fine. You slept with Uche before, but Aaliyah clearly communicated with her in the pot. Like when she went up to her, she's like, "Yo, Uche told me what happened between you two in the past," and Aaliyah goes, "I do not want you to tell me. Like I don't want to know anything. Like I want to meet him organically. I want a relationship. I want Uche's in relationships." Uche and I's relationship to just grow organically. And Lydia just kept going and saying so many things that she just did not have to say. And to me, while you're saying that, I think while you're saying, Isaiah, that she's not cognizant of the things she does, I don't know. That seemed a little bit like, it seemed a little bit dirty the way that she
I'm
did
not
it with
defending
that.
her. She probably did. I'm just being real with you. I'm okay with that as well.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
you're defending her. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
I think she was slightly cognizant of what she was saying because the way she treated Aaliyah those prior 3 episodes, it was like she was like almost like her sister. Like they literally seemed like besties like this. So the moment Aaliyah was like, "Yo, don't tell me about it because I want it to, it's fine. Like I get you guys had a history, we can't control that." I really feel like Lydia should have taken a bit more context clues. But maybe you are right, and she's just she's very unaware of life, which honestly, Lydia might give that vibe a little bit too, the way she acts about how badly she wants to fall in love. And like maybe she just has no filter and she's very unaware. But part of me felt like it was a little like, I still feel like Lydia still has some kind of feelings for Uche. And part of her just, and I foresee that being an issue moving forward. The fact that I think Lydia is still has feelings for Uche. So I think once they get to the honeymoon phase, there's going to be like, I already foresee the pull her to the side and have a conversation with Uche. And
He ain't
I
gonna be
will
in
say
there.
in Uche's defense, I actually do feel that Uche feels nothing towards Lydia in terms of a relationship. I think Uche handled this very well. So I'm gonna give, even though I think Uche's boring, I do think he handled the situation very well. He was like, "Aaliyah, like I'm being serious. Like I do not feel anything for this girl. What we had was in the past." And I think Uche handled this very well. But yeah, I think Lydia's gonna be a mess for them moving forward. So we'll see how that plans out. And at the end of episode 4, we do hear that Aaliyah left the show. So the producers tell Uche Aaliyah's not coming in. So I think this is the first time we've had this happen too, where a potential couple in the making, the one of the people leave completely. What do you think is going to happen there? Do you think production's going to convince Aaliyah to come back, or what do you think is going to happen, Isaiah?
I mean, so did you see any of the previews for the next episodes?
I did.
Yeah, we
I
already
did,
see
yeah.
that they sitting down at a table. So like
Yeah,
obviously they're
but do
going
you
to
think
talk.
that's like after you? That's what I'm asking you. Like, do you think that's before the pods end or like after the pods end?
Definitely after the pods end. They're not going
Okay,
to
that's what I
connect
was
with
wondering.
them. Her hair is already different by then. So it's
Mhm.
like I think they're not going to connect till I would assume after the honeymoon phase, probably. So we're probably going to see it towards like the second half of the next drop after tonight, which is always fun. But you know, it's I think that they were going to work because I think some couples work a lot better when they're face to face. Physical intimacy is very big. She already says she's very intimate. I can see him being like that too, and obviously hearing about like some of his history, he seems like he's a very physical person as well. So they also like I feel like he's naturally a very dominant dude, and I think that she's also very submissive, and I just think there's a shot for it to work. Now, like I say, he's a little judgmental. I don't know. We didn't really get to see Uche's sensitive side, and also we saw it's Aaliyah, right?
Aaliyah, yeah.
We saw Aaliyah's sensitive side, but we didn't actually get to see her in an environment with someone face to face. So I personally really do think that this would have worked out. It's almost like when everyone was like Zach and Bliss, there's no way in hell that's gonna work, and that just like that's one of the most successful couples like ever, which is crazy, you know. So like sometimes in person like contact is it's huge, and sometimes it's actually a real big deal breaker for people. Look at Shake in what's the one girl's name? Shake and whatever her name was. What
I forgot her name
Deep
too. Yeah.
Shake and Deep. They were very close in the pods, and then they got out there, and it was over. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I do think that there was a chance. I think Aaliyah and Uche, after seeing their conversation, are both mature enough to at least give it a shot. I do think they're going to give it a chance. It's in Aaliyah's court at the end of the day. I think Uche's interested enough, and obviously initiating this dinner. I think production's initiating this dinner, but I think that they're both mature enough to at least try. And if it works, it works. If it works, it works. But if you're getting a proposal in person, which is why I think Zach and Bliss worked as well as it did, that in-person contact is so key with a lot of these things. So, we'll see how it goes. I think that they're going to at least give it a couple of dates, see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. But I really do want to see them work out. Personally, there's no black couples this season. It's killing my soul. It's ugly. Milton is not going to work out with Lydia. So I'm just, I need something or I'm going to cry. Like, this will literally make or break me for Love is Blind. When I tell you I'm on thin ice with this damn show, like, I am so tired. Like, it's been a while since I found someone that doesn't annoy me on this show. I think Bliss was the closest, and I like Tiffany and all of them, obviously, and Brett, but they're boring. Like, I need people who are fun, and I like these two. Personally, I want them to work out, because I don't root for people in Love is Blind. I hate everybody. So, I like the drama in love is really what's keeping me with the show, because it's a damn mess, and I love it. But if I don't have black love this season, it's over. Like, I'm sorry, I'm telling you, I will drop the show.
Y'all heard that first. Netflix, like, gonna drop the show.
Literally, I had Abby here at first, and she stopped watching the show. She's tired of it. Yeah. And then I was this close, and Javier is the only reason I'm still here, because I like Javier. But like, guys, I'm this close. I'm this close. Like, I'm getting tired of this damn show, man. You saw I didn't touch after the altar, because that shit was horrible. So it's like,
it was whack.
It was horrible. When you ask me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot talk about this whack job. Like, this is such a bad show. Like, don't test me. I will stop watching, please. But that's all I gotta say.
I mean, I agree with you in the sense that the last thing I'm going to say about Uche and Aaliyah is I do think they're going to give it a shot. I think we're going to see them for like the rest of the season, because honestly, at this point, we need it, because we only have 2 engaged couples, Lydia and Milton, and then Uche and Aaliyah, and then Johnny and Chris, which is like, I don't think that's going to happen. So I definitely think we're going to see more of Uche and Aaliyah. And I agree. I hope they work out, but I just don't see it for them at this moment, just based on like their personalities, the way that they've been interacting. But we'll see. I've been proven wrong before. So let's just, anything else you got to say about any of the couples before we wrap up, Isaiah?
No, listen, I'm going to stay up. I had a really long day at work. But the episode dropped at 12, I think. So I'm going to try to watch.
No, I think East Coast is 3 a.m. It's 12.
Well, I'm not watching them tonight. But, I'll try to watch it. I'll get to it when I get to it. But, Twitter's been really good at not spoiling me. I've seen a couple, but I dodged them. So thank you, Twitter, for that. But at the trajectory we're going, we're definitely going to get another attempt at a live reunion, because this is probably the most chaotic pod phase I've ever seen in the show.
Yes,
it had me seated the entire time. I will say that,
because usually I hate the pods. I'm like, can we do the pods in 2 episodes?
Yeah,
so
I hate
the
pods.
Pods were good. These were good pods for the
so much that we don't even know all the marriages yet.
Yeah,
like this. True. I will give kudos. Like, this is the most entertaining pre honeymoon phase we've ever gotten. I've loved the pods this season. So,
I agree. So just before we wrap up, I just want to let everyone know we have 2 engaged couples, JP and Taylor, and Izzy and Stacy. We have the messiness. We'll see what happens with Uche and Aaliyah.
Yes.
We have Milton and Lydia, which is a disaster in the making. And then we have Chris and Johnny, which I think they just need a 5th couple, so they're going to be on the show for a few episodes, because they're going to run out of content otherwise. But those are the 5 couples we're gonna move into the next block of episodes. So that's probably who we'll be talking about mostly moving forward. Just so you guys know, just to give y'all a quick little summary of who we have left. But that being said, it's time to go watch Big Brother. So we're gonna wrap this up real quick. So Isaiah, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at 8Ball Bangers on all social media platforms. I'm glad to be back with Javier. So we're going to find a specific date and time. Today was a little wonky. We're going to figure out if we want to do we like doing this live or do we like doing this audio? Because we actually had a good amount of viewers. I don't know if you can see it, but we had a good amount until Big Brother came on. But we can, if we continue to do this live, we'll find a consistent day, because I would like to cover this like way earlier, closer to the drops, but we'll update you on Twitter. But yes, Love is Blurry with Javier. Obviously bounce checks Big Brother every week, unfortunately, and Survivor content with Gia and Kettles is definitely on the way. Very excited to start doing that. I think we're going to talk about stuff on Monday, so look out for that. And I'm doing Amazing Race Extra Press right now. We didn't get to do it today because we had a little technical difficulty with CBS, but we should be doing our first one next week. So make sure you look out for that. But how about you, Javier?
So everyone, you can find me at _the_starboy on Twitter. I'll be sharing all of my thoughts on all the shows that I love. Big Brother, Love is Blind. I'm giving Survivor a shot this season. I try every season to watch Survivor. Let's see if they keep my attention this season. Catch me, just a little preview, guys. The Traders Canada comes out next week. And me and Katie and hopefully Carrie will be covering that. So catch me on that sometime. We'll let y'all know, but just know you'll be seeing more of me. So I'll be covering 2 shows, Love is Blind and The Traders Canada. So we'll get ready for that as well. And yeah, just follow me on Twitter. You'll get all my thoughts there and here on Silent Podcast. But thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Oh, and sidebar, real quick about Traders Canada. If you're not in our Discord, make sure you join that, because one of our podcasters, Chanel, I'm pretty sure she's going to try to screen share those episodes. So yeah. Definitely make sure you join the Discord. But all right, now you can close out.
Join the Discord, everyone. And on that note, have a great night, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Bye.